We're going live now. Oh, hey, welcome to Everyday Experts. I am your host, Sir Joker, and today we are having one of my friends come on, and in true Sir Joker fashion, I'm going to talk about strange friendships, because our friendship didn't come about normally. We worked together at, Free, my full-time day job. And what happened is, sometimes you meet people that you hit it off with. You're like, oh, hey, what's up, friend? How you doing? We didn't have that. We just really randomly talked about random stuff. She was teaching, I was there, and the only reason we really started talking was because she was nice to me. And we had very amicable conversations. So then in Sir Joker fashion, and my agent of chaos ways, I began to try to annoy her, because I like to annoy people, because that's one of my callings in life. Because she was very serious, and she's still pretty serious, although she's loosened up a little bit. We didn't have any deep conversations or debates. Now everything we have is a philosophical debate or a back and forth, and we mostly talked about work. Then we found out we had the same degree. And we found out that, we had some similar career and, therapeutic viewpoints that we share. Then we started to talk more and more, and, and then my new job is to try to push her buttons on a daily basis, which I think I'm pretty good at, and she will verify with you or she won't. Then actually I was finishing my newest book, Love and Poetry, which comes out September 25th, 2021. And I asked her if she wanted to do the introduction. She said no. I mean, I knew she really deep down in her heart wanted to write it, but she said no. So I asked her again, and then I just kind of told her, oh, read the book, tell me what you think. And she ended up writing it. Then she said, I don't think I can do this. So I told her that, when you're on Team Joker, we don't give up and we just get shit done. So I bring to you and introduce to you my very wonderful friend, Miss Kristin Bellona.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, hey, Kristin. How you doing?
Hey,
girl.
Good, just hanging.
Nice night, fun,
Yeah,
hard work, working hard.
so much, all of it, all of the above.
So the quote I have to introduce you is, there's a time to be nice, and there's a time to say, I had enough of your bullshit. So Kristin, thank you for joining us on Everyday Experts.
Thank you for having
me. Are you ready to take flight? Of course.
Absolutely. Always ready.
First question. If you could be a vampire, a werewolf or wolf, a zombie, a ghost, or a serial killer, what would you pick and why?
So after seeing multiple shows, I always pick ghost. But then after seeing Michelle and she added another one, I was thinking of adding another one too.
Okay, hold on. First, you have to answer the question. Then we can talk about, you would want to be a ghost.
I would want to be a ghost.
Pourquoi?
But like a friendly ghost.
A friendly ghost?
So I could watch over people and like help people out when they needed it, not like a haunting ghost.
Okay, so you want to be a boring ghost. So you want to be able to torment people's lives. You're like, I'm just going to be nice. Like when they're not looking, you're going to cut their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and you're going to put air in their tire. That's very much who you are. Now,
yes, it is.
The caveat you wanted to add, please elucidate.
After hearing, so I listen to this one song all the time, and it talks about being a witch. I don't know. For a while, I went on like the whole crystals. Maybe the crystals things are gonna work, and I'm supposed to stage my sister's house. Still haven't done that. I don't know. Maybe a whole witch thing could be cool. Put spells on people.
Like Tabitha
Huh?
or Glinda, or are you going to be like a bad witch?
No, I'd be a good witch.
So you want to be a good ghost and a good
And a good witch.
Well, I guess if that makes you a good ghost and a good witch. Well, it seems like I see how you got to where you are. You want to help people.
Exactly.
You like helping people.
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So before we get there, let's take this road back a little bit. What's up, Mitch? You ain't official. That's my friend, my best guy friend. He doesn't claim me. I'm top 87 for him, but he is my best guy friend. Anywho, I apologize for the sidetrack. How did you formulate to be the good witch that you are today? What was your childhood like?
I was always pretty much to myself. I had a group of friends, but I wasn't super outgoing, but like with my friend group, I was. Just kind of did what I wanted to do. It was pretty normal childhood. I didn't have a crazy childhood. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Kind of a plain, boring kid.
You said that you and your sister were reenacting the Game of Thrones, which means that you were at each other's neck, vying for the title of Queen Witch. Please explain, how did you and your older sister get along?
When we were younger, we didn't at all, for the most part, especially when I was little. I think I always started everything, probably, to be quite honest, but we just always butted heads. There was no getting along with each other. I always wanted everything to be a competition, even though she had no idea it was a competition. So anything that she did, I wanted to do 1,000 times better, and she had no idea I was trying to do it better. We didn't become friendly with each other until she went away to college, because we didn't live in the same house anymore. And we needed space from each other, and then at that point we were adults. So there was no more needing to be competition.
Was it ever any fisticuffs? Did you guys ever have like a duel, a fist fight, knife fight?
No, absolutely not. We probably like pushed each other around.
So like Fight Club. Okay, got it.
Sure. Yep, just like Fight Club.
I like it. So it was competitive.
But she had no idea it was competitive.
And have you shared this news with her?
I think we've talked about it as we got older. I know I've talked to my mom about it, but I don't, to be quite honest, I don't know if I've ever told her. But I know I've mentioned it to my mom before.
And
but I don't know.
Do you ever feel like you wish it was different or better?
For a while, I always thought it was our age difference that made us the way we were, because she's 3.5 years older, so it's kind of a weird gap. Because I had friends and she had friends who, like, it was the same age difference, and they got along great. So I don't know. For a while, I thought it was the age gap, and then I think we just couldn't live in the same household together, to be quite honest.
Couldn't exist together. So you, we'll say, present yourself as structured.
Yes.
Meticulous.
Yeah.
Is your older sister the same way, or is she different?
I think in some ways, yes. I don't think she's as, like, I'm a big, like, list person. I don't think she's necessarily like that structured as I am.
Okay. So lists. I know you like lists. We're gonna come back to that. So we're gonna do a list right now. What is the top 5 things you hated about your sister when you guys were younger?
Top 5 things I hated about my sister. I thought that she got more than I did, and more. I would say more in the way of like freedom. Like but that wasn't always the case. But in some aspects, I think she had more freedoms than I did.
Okay.
I don't really know if I could think of 5 things. It was,
Okay,
I
so we
think,
said freedom,
yeah.
and you said she was a stupid face. You didn't say that,
No,
but that sounds better for the show. She was a stupid face. We got to, she's spoiled.
no, because we were both equally spoiled. Whatever she got, I got.
But if she got more, then the inherent definition of your argument, your premise of your argument can't be the same. You can't be the same if you feel like she has more freedoms.
So then more in the way of like, not, let me rephrase that. We got like, if it was like Christmas, we got the same, like we got the same amount of things. If it was a birthday, we got the same amount of things. If she wanted to go someplace for her birthday, I got to choose someplace to go for my birthday. Like it was equal in that type of way.
Okay. So tangible stuff, there was equity.
Yes.
Emotional. So your parents loved her more.
No. If you ask my mom, she loves us equally. I always used to try to, as when I was younger, I always used to get her to try to say like, oh, you love one of us more, right? No. We're equal. Even to this day, she'll tell you the same thing.
Okay, so you struggle with the list of things you don't like. So let's go to the list of things you do like. We did mention that she has a daughter that you actually like. So would it be fair to say that her daughter is the reason that you like her? No, I'm just kidding. Tell me about your niece.
She just turned 4 months old. She is the cutest little thing ever. My mom watches her, so I see her like almost every day when I come home from work, or before I leave for work. And she's got a great personality. She's she's happy most of the time. I should say that.
That's good.
Yeah.
So she smiles a lot and she's laughing, and that's awesome. And that's nice to come home from work where most people aren't happy and aren't smiling. And we'll go into that later. But tell me a little bit more. You spoke about your mom and how she tried to have balance. Who was the bigger influence on you growing up? Mom, dad? Was it the same? Was it different ways?
They both had influence in different ways. So dad was a super hard worker. Dad coached my softball team when I was younger, and taught me that kind of stuff, where mom was there more like emotionally for things. Mm-hmm. So they were there in different aspects.
Okay.
So mom was always there when something was wrong. Mm-hmm. And like she was the person I'd go to like if I needed to talk to her about anything. Dad was there. Dad was like, if you looked at like schoolwork, dad was like the math and science, and mom was like the English and stuff.
I love mom.
So they had like their different things. She's on. I think she said she's gonna watch.
Nice. I hope so.
I hope so too.
So, you mentioned freedom, and then you had said that your dad worked for Cummings for 40 years, 50 years, something like that.
He's been there a really long time.
Okay, and he works from home now.
Because of COVID.
You and your dad, you said, had a propensity to how do you say it in French? Butt heads. Butt heads.
Yeah.
What? Because it sounds like mom was the moral support, the rock. Tell me about that.
So when we were younger, dad worked a lot to hold up the family. And then as he kind of moved his positions up, he was home more often. But we both have very similar personalities. So when one of us has to be like, one of us always has to be right. Like there's no like getting the last word is like somebody's going to chime in the very end to get the last word.
So yeah, I got it. That's very much you.
Time, yes.
Most of the time.
I try to. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Usually mom is the one who kind of separates us and tells us to come down.
Ooh. Yeah. Does your dad push you in a good way as well? Because I know you said he pushes your buttons, but does he push you in a good way, like challenging you in terms of is Gail Bell's that mom?
Yep, that's mom.
Okay, everybody put a Joker card in the chat for Kristin's mom. And say, hey mom, hey boo, how you doing? Awesome. Okay. We were talking about, does your dad push you in a good way as well? Like challenging you?
Yeah, they both want the same thing. They both want, even like my sister, like both of us, they want us to be like the best that we can be and do the best that we can do. So they always push us to make sure we're getting there.
Right. That's awesome. Now dad works from home. Yeah. And he's home 24/7, marching around on his phone. And you said he's a tad bit animated and a tad bit boisterous and tumultuous. And yes, John Bitten, yes, Jimmy Nails. Keep the Joker cards coming from mom. And does that also cause friction because you work long hours and when you come home you're tired and then dad might be stomping around?
I mean, it depends. He works like normal work hours, so it honestly depends on the hours that I'm working. So if I'm working like 11 to 7, then in the morning it's like I'm not a morning person. Like, don't talk to me in the morning, don't look at me in the morning, like leave me alone in the morning. So like if I'm up and like he's already on the phone or trying to do stuff or trying to ask me questions, like I'm not having it. Whereas like if I'm working 9 to 5, like usually when I come home, he's pretty much done for the day.
Right.
So it really depends on like the timing of when I'm home, when I'm not home, kind of thing.
Okay. That works. I like it. So we're going to transition into Kristin 101 for you. If you're following along, because I know you like the list and I'm sure you're following it. Let's talk about high school and college a little bit. Let's talk about school. I know you grew up on Long Island. You grew up in West Islip, right?
Yep, all my life.
A bevy of multicultural and difference, and I'm just kidding. It was very homogenous there.
Yes.
And I know you said it's getting better. I liked when you said there's a lot of assholes and weirdos. Please explain.
So, I mean, I feel like it's still probably this way too, but I mean, again, I haven't been in high school since 2013, so I couldn't tell you now, but it was very like dependent. It kind of depends on like where you live. So, so we have 2 middle schools. If you went to the middle school that I went to, you tended to be not as snobby and stuck up as if you went to the other middle school, just by the nature of where you live.
Okay.
So if you went to like the snobby school, those tended to be the ones who were like we had a great lacrosse team. We're on lacrosse. Granted, like there were some from my middle school, but you were more like your parents gave you everything, that kind of stuff, and you like flaunted it. Whereas that was not the case necessarily in my middle school. You still had some, but it wasn't as like kind of like in your face almost. And then everybody joined together for high school, and it was a mix of personalities, to say the least.
So it was sort of like Mean Girls meets what's the movie with Alicia Silverstone when she was in high school? Clueless.
Okay.
So kind it's sort of like Mean Girls and Clueless and What I Hate About You and Not Another Teenage Mutant Movie. Sorry. Was it like a hodgepodge like that? Or was it more like Class A, then everybody, and then Class like C?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on like what perspective you look at it from. Like somebody who didn't go to high school might see it differently than when I was there.
Right. So I asked you during the pre-interview, when you eventually went into the University of Buffalo, correctly?
Yep.
You went to the University of Buffalo, and you said that in high school, you didn't know anything different. Everything was the same. Like, it was, everybody looked the same, acted the same. And then Buffalo, was it a culture shock? Was it adjustment period? Was it not?
It was a little bit of everything, to be quite honest. Culture shock in just the way of, like, you get so many different people from so many different places. You get, like, exchange students from different countries, and you get people from all different cultures and everything. I think I adjusted pretty well to it because it was something that, like, even though I didn't have that in high school, like, I kind of wanted. Like, I think it would have been better in high school if there was
more diversity. Yeah.
More diversity, yeah.
Yeah. You said you clicked with the people in the middle. Did that carry over into college? Was that something that kind of became like your calling card, sort of?
I mean, I feel like when I went to college, like, I was thrown into my freshman year, I was thrown into a quad. I didn't want to live with 3 other people, but I ended up living with three other people. None of us knew each other before we moved in. We literally had each other's names. I think we found each other on Facebook a couple weeks before.
Oh,
we're like, hey, this is what I'm bringing. This is, like, great. I'll see you on move-in day.
Right.
So I feel like some of, like, the clickiness kind of goes away when you go to college because you're not necessarily with anybody you might know. Like, were there, like, 6 or 7 kids from my graduating class who went to school with me? Absolutely. Did I see them every day? Absolutely not. I saw them maybe twice a year roaming on campus.
Did you talk to them, or did you act like you didn't know them?
It wasn't necessarily people I talked to in high school. So I didn't.
They were the assholes, or were they the weirdos?
Honestly, they was just a mixture of both.
Okay. That's cool.
Like, if we saw each other, it would be like oh, hey, I know you, but it wasn't like oh, let's sit and have lunch together kind of thing.
So you went into college, you had about 95 credits or something, 100, like you were graduated in like 5 minutes basically. But you started playing a lot of sports in high school, and you said sports helped shape your life. How does that apply?
So sports is always something that I did. But when I went it was more of something that I enjoyed doing and less of something that I was, like, super competitive about. So
that's just your sister. Got it.
So when I went to college, it wasn't necessarily something that I wanted to keep doing. And it was more of like, okay, I'm here. I want to focus on school. And the only team I thought about doing, like, club teams. And then I found out the club teams were just as much work as the regular teams, and I quickly dropped that. Because it was supposed to be like a club team. It wasn't supposed to be as serious, and I took it, like, to the next level. So even though it was something I did, like, all through, like, when I was younger, I kind of had the idea already, like, when I go to college, I'm not going to do this going forward. I'll keep it more as, like, a hobby kind of thing. Like, I still swam in the pool. I still did laps because it was good exercise, and it was just something to, like, de-stress. But it wasn't something that I was like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to go swim at 6 and then to go to class and then be back at 1 for practice and then be back at 3 for practice. Like, I wasn't.
You swam 3 times a day?
No, that's when the club teams were going to swim. They were swimming like 3 or 4 times a day. That's why I said, I was like, that's too much. It's ridiculous.
That's when you decided that you picked your major, right? You picked your major in college, and that's when the Game of Thrones turned to Sopranos, correct? I know it's neither show you've seen. Tell me a little bit about that. I know you said that was a really rough time for you.
So I went in undecided. Sophomore year, I decided to go into what my college called Health and Human Services, and I wanted to minor in counseling. And my mom can totally attest to this. We argued back and forth. We argued back and forth. I think it was about 2 weeks that we didn't really talk. because I mean, even to this day, counseling isn't necessarily, you can make a lot of money with it, but it's not necessarily something that can keep you there. And they always wanted the best for me and to make sure that I had something stable and steady and that was always going to be there. And, you know, who knows, one day maybe counseling is going to become a thing of the past, kind of thing. So when I first decided to choose my major, we kind of went back and forth for a while. We didn't really talk for a while because it was always, somehow it always came up in conversation, until she kind of noticed that I was like dead set that this is what I'm doing and I don't really care. And she came into more of an understanding that like, if I do anything else, I'm going to be very unhappy with my life and I don't want that.
So mom being supportive, which has been kind of like the theme of her role in your life, understood that this is what you wanted to do and that you were serious about it. And that's awesome to get that support because it's hard for people to hear, oh, I want to be a counselor, because a lot of people, first of all, they don't know what it is. Know what a social worker is, know what a psychologist is. They're like, what's a mental health social worker, you mean? So there's that, and we'll touch on that in a little bit, but that's hard for people. Somebody gave me a fun fact about you. A little birdie told me that you took 2 accounting classes and you did amazing in them. Fabulous. And I think people got geeked that you were going to change. And then, you didn't change. What happened? You had your chance. You chased the money.
I mean, I still could. I feel like I'm still young enough to do a career change if I really wanted to. No, I don't like the like monotony of like doing the same thing every single day. Sitting at a desk 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, looking at numbers all day long. Hey, that some people love that and they could do that for 80 years of their life, but that's not me. I can't sit there and do the same thing over and over and over again every single day. Even though like counseling, you're still kind of doing the same thing. You're always going to have something different to kind of work with.
So you couldn't bear to do the same thing over and over again was what you said. Very profound, because a lot of what we do is repetitive, but it's not necessarily similar. So
even though you might help somebody in the same way, you might be helping them with a different problem, or it's something new, or somebody's in crisis. Like you're still doing the basis of the same thing, but it's different in many ways.
Matt, bring back up John's statement, please, so she can see.
It's true. It's true.
John's a man of very profound knowledge and wisdom. So that's just a side note. So moving into the next section of I Hear You. I hear you. Somebody graduated in 3 years. Tell me how you managed that. I don't think I even graduated from college yet. I think I'm still working on a class.
So in high school, I took a lot of AP and college classes, which gave me 20 something. I don't even remember. I'd have to look back at like a transcript. A decent amount of college credits going into undergrad. So as that kind of like knocked out some of like the gen eds and like classes that weren't like super necessary. And then I took I took as many classes as I could. I didn't have plans on graduating in 3 years until my sophomore year. And I was pretty much done with Buffalo and wanted to get out of there. I did have the choice of studying abroad, which would have just extended my time a little bit longer. But after hearing about like one of my roommates tried to study abroad, and she had everything pretty much situated, and then found out the school that she was going to was charging her like 10 grand extra on top of everything else. And there was a lot of stress and there was a lot of pressure to get it, like to figure it out quickly. And I just didn't, at that point, I just wanted to get out of Buffalo.
Wow, Buffalo's so nice. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That I just decided to not study abroad and just finish in 3 years.
No.
And then go from there.
So, I mean, just up to this point, sports, great grades in high school, got into University of Buffalo, which is a very good school, by the way. Graduated in like 2 days. Like you drove up, then you drove back with your degree. Is the competitiveness part of your drive to be an overachiever?
Probably a little bit.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that was competition at that point. Fun fact, my sister also graduated in 3 years.
Whoa. Who graduated first?
Well,
what date?
Oh, I don't know exact dates.
Oh, you got to find out.
But she also graduated in 3 years because she also took college classes. But at that point, I didn't even care at that point if I took another semester to study abroad or do something else. It was just the fact of I hated Buffalo that I wanted to leave.
Okay. Now, as we go into graduate school, where did you go to graduate school at? Hofstra University, one of Long Island's finest. What was your major?
It was mental health counseling.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, what is mental health counseling? I don't understand. Explain to me.
Okay, so you could compete for the easy answer, and then I'll do the more extreme one. The easy answer is it's pretty similar to a licensed clinical social worker. So you have the clinical background in therapy, counseling, therapy, whether it's individual. We can do some like couples therapy, but they save that for like the marriage and family therapists. You could do group therapy, group counseling, and you focus on, it's more of a focus on mental health, and how to, maybe it's somebody who's coming in because they're hearing voices for the first time and they don't know what it is, or they're super anxious, or they don't know what they're dealing with, and you need to figure it out with them.
Right.
Having like a safe space to talk with that person and figure out what's going on and figure out how to help them if you can.
Right. Nice. What's the more complex answer? Or was that the more complex?
That was the complex. Okay. The easy answer was comparing it to the clinical social worker. The other part was the more complex one.
So when we talk about personality traits, when we think of a therapist, we typically think of people that just, like a bobblehead. Yeah, sure. Minimal encouragers, all fun stuff, you know. What is your biggest personality trait? Oh, I'm sorry, the English version of what is your biggest personality trait that you think helps you excel at counseling?
So I would say that I'm a really good listener, especially like in the moment, but I can also like I focus with that person when they're in front of me. I try to not have any distractions. Obviously things happen, we're only human. But I try to just focus with that person where they are in the moment. So even though there might be like a natural course that the session should take, like if somebody comes in and I had something planned to work on with them, and now all of a sudden they have something that comes out of left field, I'm going to sit there and talk with them about that and kind of ditch the course that I already had, which can be difficult for some people.
Right. What do you do every day? What do you do for everyday work?
I'm a behavior specialist.
Okay.
Which was not exactly where I planned on being. When I was in grad school, I worked in an agency that worked with strict mental health issues. So adults who were severely mentally ill. And then when I graduated and I needed some place to support for my licensure, my job that I was at unfortunately couldn't do it. They thought they could, but they couldn't.
Right.
And I stumbled upon Free, which was a whole new world for me because I've never worked with the intellectually or developmentally disabled population.
Yeah.
So it was a really big learning curve because I had never worked with this population before, and I didn't really like, even though a lot of them do have mental health issues, I never focused on the first kind of problem, whatever we want to call it, being a non-mental health issue.
Right.
And it's kind of opened my eyes that it's not necessarily something I want to focus on for the rest of my life because of how much I missed like the strict mental health.
Right.
And it's that, but that happens. You start to work with things and you notice like, hey, this isn't for me. And that's okay. So this is kind of like my stepping stone.
Stepping stone to
either. I have multiple options at this point in time. I kind of want to work in a hospital, maybe in like a psych unit. I did my internship at Hofstra's Counseling Center on campus, and I loved working with the college kids. So I would love to end up back there, but that can be very difficult. They tend to do like internships and externships only, but not all of them do. But I'd love to end up back working with like the college age population because that was
fun.
So fun. It was fun. It was interesting. It was always something different. And I felt that when I worked with that age, most of them wanted to change. They didn't want to stay where they were. Whereas like at my old agency, they were all in like their 40s, 50s, 60s. And they were like, I've been like this for 30 years. I don't care anymore. It is what it is. I'm not doing anything you tell me to do kind of thing.
So since you brought up change, that's an excellent transition. A lot of us see things in other people that we don't necessarily like, we don't care about. We might be like, oh, that person's personality rubbed me a wrong way. What's something you saw in somebody else that kind of gave you the guidance and the direction to change something about yourself?
So now we've talked about my stubbornness.
Oh, you're stubborn?
Oh, just a little.
A little.
It's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it comes in handy and sometimes it does not. And I also feel like, and I've noticed it more as I've grown up, kind of being so structured doesn't always come in handy at all. What's something that you like to do that you might consider more impulsive? I don't really think I do anything that's impulsive. I know. So I feel I've always wanted to be more like spontaneous. Okay. But I feel like I'm too much of a planner to do like I'm the person like we go on vacation and I'm like, these are the things we're doing on these days at these times. Okay. Kind of thing. Like I'd rather plan things out. Okay. What's something that you haven't planned out that you would like to do? Haven't planned out that I would like to do. I mean, I would love to be able to just pick up and travel. Okay. But COVID kind of stalling that. Right. And just kind of be able to be like, oh, it's a Friday. Cool. I'm going to take a 4-day weekend and go to this place for a couple days. Where's the first place you would go? And who would you bring? So I would love to go out of the country. Okay. Just gonna plan it just flying anywhere out of the country? Or do you have a destination? So I've previously, when I was in high school, I went to Italy. Okay. And did most of southern Italy, and ever since then I've always wanted to go back and do northern Italy. So I would love to go there again. Okay. If I stayed in the United States, I don't know. I feel like I would kind of want, I don't know. I want to see like a bunch of different states, but I don't. That's something that like you're always gonna like. I'm always gonna live in the United States. I'm not flying. Like I'm not living anywhere else, so I could go do that whenever, kind of thing. Like it's more difficult to leave the country than to leave New York, say. Right. Who would you bring with you? In the United States, I'd bring my boyfriend. Because I know he wants to travel too. If I went to Italy, I would want to bring my parents. Okay. My sister can come too. She promised a trip to Italy. Yeah. My sister's gone to Italy too, but she did the northern part of Italy where I did the southern part of Italy. So we saw different things when we went at different times. But she also went in high school. Nice. But yeah.
Cool beans. Very deep. So what are some, for our people in the chats, what are some of the issues you see like every day that you'd like to deal with? Or you know what? Scratch that. What are some of the things you saw in the college kids that you like dealing with? Or you felt you were very good at helping them with?
So there were, shockingly enough, a lot of personality issues.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily deal with them as much because it was a lot of the like doctors and lawyers that were going to like med school and law school had a lot of personality disorder issues going on.
Weird.
I know, right? So strange. So that was always something that was interesting. I actually did work with a decent amount of freshmen who came in and who were either like super confused about themselves, didn't really know where they fit in, what they were feeling, kind of stuff like that. I had one kid who never quite got a diagnosis. He was a little all over the place. Every day he came in, he had something else that was like this major crisis and like kind of just like fell off the earth towards the end of the semester. And we were thinking at one point we thought like schizophrenic, then maybe bipolar, then maybe a personality disorder. Like he had just like a million different things going on. And I pretty much just like every session, I just kind of like listened to him, validated what he was feeling and kind of like piece things together slowly. But it was a lot of like adjustment that came with like deeper rooted issues. You could say. So like stuff from home, stuff from friends, and all that kind of stuff.
What are some of the techniques or like, I hate to say things you do. What are some of the things you kind of did with the college students, and maybe you do now that you like doing and you think helped the people you worked with and work with?
Just staying present with them, kind of taking it minute by minute. So whatever they're feeling like right now, in the moment, and if it's feeling something different every single time, just kind of sitting with that feeling, bringing what it brings up for them. Maybe they can relate it to something previously that's happened, all kind of stuff like that. I liked a lot of mindfulness techniques to help them stay present and in the moment. So all kind of things like that. Really just like focusing on what was going on right then and there.
Okay. You said I didn't have freedom till college. Do you think that freedom that you found, that you were trying to help or maybe guide your students that you were working with to finding?
In some ways, yes. There were a lot of students who I was able to really relate to, which definitely came in handy. I'm sure a lot of them quickly figured out that I was very similar in age to them, compared to my peers who were already in like their 30s and stuff, despite physically the way I looked. But just being able to relate to like, hey, like I did that too, kind of thing. You get a lot of different people from out of state come to Hofstra, pretty shockingly enough.
Yeah.
And they were like,
I've never
been, they're like, I've never been this far away from home and all that kind of stuff. And I was able to relate with kind of being like, yeah, well, I went to school in Buffalo before I came here and all kind of that kind of stuff, and relate on that level of things.
And getting homesick.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it got real old real quick. And would you say you were home every month?
Not every month, no.
Okay.
I came home for all the holidays. And I usually came home once a semester outside of holidays, for like just the weekend. So if I didn't have class on Friday, I would leave like Thursday night or early Friday morning. And then I didn't do morning classes because I don't like to be up early. I had, in all 3 years of being in Buffalo, I had one 8 a.m. class. One in 3 years.
That's awesome.
So like on Monday, I didn't have to be back sometimes until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
So I could leave Monday and not have to worry about missing a class or anything.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. So if I came in, oh, I'm sorry. Matt asked you a question that he didn't know I heard him ask. So I'm going to ask the question. What was your first impression of Joker when you met him?
So you were part of my orientation, and I was the only behavior specialist. And because you had been a behavior specialist at one point, you tended to pick on me a lot.
I didn't pick on you.
I
saw greatness.
Yeah, you did. No, you picked on me all the time. And I will never forget that when you taught my skip class, you told me that if I didn't get 100 on the test, I was failing the class.
That could be valid.
That was 100% valid. Yeah. You tortured me that whole time, especially when it came to the written test, that if I did not get 100 on it, I was failing the class and I was not going to be able to work there. Yeah. You were just very joking and lighthearted.
Yes. And I know in the introduction I mentioned that it didn't start off where we were like but like we just really talked about random stuff and then it was over. Was that valid? Do you agree? Disagree?
I think so, yeah. I feel like we started talking more after COVID.
Yeah.
Because we had more opportunities between like I was in like the skip class when you were teaching teaching us how to become teachers and stuff, and that's kind of where it really started, I would say.
Yeah. I agree.
What did you think of me? Do you remember? Do you remember being in when you taught orientation and stuff?
I don't remember orientation because it all blends together. Michelle said I picked on her, and I did pick on the behavior specialist during skip class because one, they had to know it, and you have to know it enough to be able to teach somebody and be comfortable with it, even without being a skip instructor. So that's very important. And you can get a lot of a person's personality when they're, being needled and stuff like that. So it was to see, because the managers, the ADB, they would be like, oh, what did you think of this one? What did you think of that one? So a lot of times it was really me like, okay, if they can deal with me, and my personality is probably more extreme than like 85% of the clients we have.
I don't think so.
Huh? You don't think so?
You're annoying in like a more fun, entertaining way, where they're annoying in just like an annoying way.
Yes. But if you can deal with one annoying, you can typically
deal with the other.
You can typically deal with the other. And, and when I teach class, I teach it very realistic where, it's the curses and stuff like so nothing that except for maybe behaviors because I wasn't beating anybody up. Joker is a menace, but always for a good cause. Thank you, Mr. Benton, sir. That's valid.
It is.
But a lot of it was to test and to see, kind of what you could deal with and not deal with. And it's just fun pushing your buttons. Because you're not always serious, but you typically are very serious about most, like even when you're even your sense of humor is very flat. So it's just, you always present as very serious.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my interpretation.
Yeah,
it is. So, I heard that you love Hollister, and if you had a Hollister soundtrack, please tell me what that means.
So I don't love Hollister. It's the music that they play in Hollister. And I didn't describe it as that. One of my old friends from undergrad who lived in the middle of nowhere upstate described it as that. No, it's the electronic pop that I listen to.
Right.
That for somebody who lives in the middle of nowhere and listens to country music on a regular basis, when she first heard my music, she was like, this sounds like something when I go to Hollister or when you pass by Hollister. And I was like, I mean, that's a good way to describe it if you want to think about it that way.
Right.
No, that's just music. That's what I listen to now. I don't think I didn't always listen to it. when I was younger, I always just listened to whatever was on the radio and that was current for the times.
Right.
Like now I don't listen to rap and any of that kind of stuff. I don't like, it's not my cup of tea.
A lot of music has blended together too. So there's a lot of overlap where a lot of people sound the same. Bring up Jimmy's comment too, so you feel validated. I love that kind of music too. I love it. So you should feel validated. You are not alone. There's two of you now. So what I will say is that you have an interesting love affair with Ed Sheeran.
I do.
Yeah. Please tell me about Ed Sheeran and, why you want to be his baby mama. Not necessarily. That was a lot.
I won't take it to that extreme.
Okay.
No, I know we talked about this, but like his newer stuff I'm not as much as a fan of because he's trying to change with the times. But like his previous, like I think it's 4 albums now at this point, 3 or 4 albums, just were I really enjoyed listening to them. They were very calming and soothing, and a lot of his songs had a lot of meaning behind them that I just kind of like connected with and just really liked the way they sounded and all of that stuff. Saw him in concert 2 times. Cried both times, at least once or twice. Just because of like hearing the songs like in person live. They kind of hit differently.
Right. Question. I know you said that he's changing with the times. Could it be that your personality, your growth as a person, as a woman have changed and maybe they just hit you different?
I don't think so. I mean, like if you listen to like his albums have progressed over time. Obviously, which happens. Artists progress as the more and more they do. But he just like he went from one type of music to trying to be more pop and kind of doing all of that stuff. Which like is not saying that people aren't gonna like it. It's just not something that I like right now.
Right. Can you bring that back up, please, sir? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Matt, can you fact check that for us, please, sir? As the knowledge of all things. Cool. You also said you're a Jonas Brothers gal.
No, I used to be.
Used to be. And have they grown up too much for you too?
No, I grew out of them, and
you grew out of them.
They fell apart at one point in time.
So I asked you your favorite band or group or singer, and you told me
Kygo.
Kygo. I don't know who Kygo is. Please give me some.
You didn't listen to any of their. Can't be friends anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, this is a safe place, safe space, and you can make the choices that you need to make, and I will support them.
Okay.
Tell me about Kygo.
Electronic pop. He kind of does like the bass of everything, like the bass sounds of everything, and writes most of the songs, and then he has people come on and sing. But all of his new stuff, every time it comes out, I love it.
So he doesn't actually do any of the singing?
Not that I know of, no.
So you like the music, you like the lyrics, you like how they mesh? All of it?
Yeah.
You like the jambalaya of it?
So if you look at my playlist is all over the place usually.
What are the top 5 songs on your playlist?
Top 5? I don't even know. I'd have to look through. I'd have to totally look through my playlist.
Well, you have your
Probably
phone.
some Kygo. Okay. You want me to look through my playlist right now? Okay, let's see. In my current playlist, dismiss because I use Spotify. Let's see. So Kygo came out with a new song, Love Me Now, which is really good.
Okay.
see. Grip by Sieb is really good with Bastille.
Mm-hmm.
This is a remix. The song is Strongest,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an Alan Walker remix. I really like a lot of his remixes.
Okay.
Let's see. That's another. I have a lot of remixes.
Okay. Well, that's what they do with electronic, like kind of pop, right?
Yeah. So it's songs that I never heard of, and then you hear the remix, and I kind of like it.
Okay. Do
but
you
it's like
do you
a
ever
mix.
go back and check out the originals and kind of compare?
I have occasionally, not. I haven't done that recently though.
Okay.
I have like a mixture of songs where like some songs I like because I like the lyrics and the meanings behind them, and other songs I like just because I like the way they sound. And like I don't pay attention to the lyrics, but I'm like, hey, this has a really good beat, and it's kind of good, so I just
Wait,
keep
hold
it.
on. You don't pay attention to lyrics at all?
I do and I don't. It depends.
Okay, so that means you don't. Thank you. So you actually read my book and none of the words resonated with you. Thank you. That hurts so good. Yes, Jimmy Nails.
Heavy in the pop side, yeah.
Okay. My friend Mitch is bringing his playlist because he's jealous that you got to talk about yours because, anyway. But thank you for sharing your playlist. We are wrapping up in a few minutes. So we're going to go into free association, which is where, we just tell you a topic and you just associate freely.
Okay.
So let's see. Guitar playing.
Wasn't my thing.
Why not?
I always wanted an acoustic guitar. When my parents got it for me, they listened to the person in the guitar store and got me an electric guitar. And my teacher wanted to teach me how to read music and how to learn specific notes. And I already knew how to read music because I played violin. And I was just like, can you teach me this song? Like, here's a song. Can you help me learn how to play it? And he wasn't really having that. He did that occasionally, but not as much as I wanted to. So I kind of just like faded out of it. But it was always something I wanted to get into.
Let's see. Fitness and working out. You told me you were doing a new challenge and you are loving every second of it.
I am. So pre-COVID, I called myself a gym rat. I was in the gym 5-6 days a week for anywhere from an hour to 2 hours. I didn't get into it until I was just in a very unhappy place with myself, and I decided out of nowhere that like, hey, I actually need to make a change in my life, which is what started it. And then I just kind of learned to love it. It was a great stress reliever, and it was something I stuck with. COVID hit, gyms closed, which was really upsetting. I have now my own home gym in my house. Part of which is stuff that we had, my parents had bought previously, and a lot of which now is all stuff that I bought off of like Facebook Marketplace from people.
Nice.
To have we had like a giant like multi-purpose weightlifting kind of like machine already, like the total body fitness one. So I have that, but I also now have adjustable dumbbells. I have a 45-pound Olympic size barbell. I have bumper plates. I have Olympic plates. I bought a squat rack. I bought a bench. And it's not the same not being in a gym. I miss just the nature and the environment around you, a little bit of competitiveness without anybody knowing you're being competitive in the gym, and stuff. But I stopped working out for about 2 months because I was just really tired. I was stressed, and even though I wanted to, I didn't have the time or energy or anything to do it. So I decided I wanted to get back into it, and I joined one of the fitness influencers I follow on Instagram. Is doing a challenge for the month of September where you do 500 reps every single day, and she has a pre-planned workout. And by the end of September, on the last day, you would have done 15,000 reps. So yeah, so much fun.
Oh, I don't want to sign up for that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So you do 500 reps a day of a workout that she gives you. And they only take anywhere from like 15 to 20, 25 minutes. So it's like a nice period of time where like if I have more time, I can do something after. And if I don't, I did a workout for 20 minutes, say.
Oh, okay. So, okay. That's awesome. It's good to have outlets. Do you have any other hobbies or outlets or things you do creatively or for fun?
Creatively, no. That's I know I need some more hobbies.
Okay.
I feel like I'm usually always so tired from work that I just crash.
Sleep. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. You get it. The man of a million jobs.
I don't know what you're talking about. So I come in for a counseling session. Diagnose me.
Oh, you want an actual diagnosis?
Yes.
I don't know. There's no. Why do you want me to say like you're like a secret sociopath? Is that what you want?
If you said I was a sociopath, that would be fine. I would be being a psychopath too. I mean, it just.
Well, no, psychopaths don't fit in with society.
I don't. I'm an anomaly.
You do though, but you're very friendly. That's what sociopaths are. Sociopaths, they fit in with society. Nobody knows they're a sociopath.
So you're telling me I'm a sociopath? Okay.
Thank you, saying you're a sociopath.
Matt said
yes.
I'm 100% sociopath. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the love and support. Let's see. I think we got about 2 more questions. So, okay. I know you like helping people and making them feel good and building them up and all that stuff. And I'm sure you give amazing advice.
I try.
You try.
I try.
So, a little birdie also told me that you do not like to take your own advice. Please elucidate.
I don't. I do sometimes.
But not most times.
No, not most times.
Okay.
Usually it's like I get sometimes from my friends, like, what would you tell one of your clients and stuff like that. But I don't always have the push to do it myself necessarily. Like in a therapy session, your therapist pushes you to kind of try to do it.
Right.
So sometimes, like if I'm trying to take my own advice, like I can only push myself to do it so many times or try to do it so many times.
Is that not is that not a human struggle to constantly find the need for the competition?
What do you mean?
And it thrives. Like you need to find a way to push yourself, to inspire yourself, to make yourself, why do you get up for work every day?
Because I want to, like now, why do I get up for work every day? Because I know where I want to end up. And if I don't get up for work every day, I'm not going to end up where I want to end up.
Yes, that's great. Last question, actually, sadly.
Oh, boy.
Actually, Matt, can you bring up what John said?
So he could remain human.
So you're probably pretty on point. I do pick serial killer because I do want to remain human. I wouldn't want to really. The only other one I might pick is a vampire, but I wouldn't want to live forever. So there's not. And ghosts are just weird. I wouldn't want to be a ghost. I wouldn't want to turn into a wolf. I wouldn't want to be a zombie because zombies are dead. So there's that whole rationale. And people always look at me like I have issues when I pick serial killer, but I think serial killers are adjust to society more than you would think because they have to. They have to be able to move seemingly and still. It's kind of hard to be a low-key werewolf. Be like, oh, that's not a tail. That's not a wolf.
You have a point there.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Last question as we bring it home. If you could be any superhero or supervillain, who would you be and why? And yes, you can choose one of each if you would like.
See, I don't know. I'm not like, I feel like I don't watch enough about like superheroes and villains to like
Well, who do
be
you
able
know?
I used to watch like Flash and Green Arrow and like all of those shows at one point in time in college,
CW.
and then there was just too many episodes that I got delayed on that I gave up
You
on
can still
that.
catch up. It's still on Netflix.
I know, but I don't even know where I end. I'd have to start from the beginning again, and there was just too many shows that like intertwined with each other, and if you missed one, you were confused on the other, and there's just a lot to follow.
So in the chat, while we still have Kristin here, please give us some suggestions for superheroes and supervillains that Kristin could be. Matt, can you throw them up there if we get any suggestions?
Who do you think who would you put me as?
Oh man.
Plot twist, I know.
No.
But you want me to know.
You be a very good Harley. And it's not just because of the blonde hair, it's just because that she was a psychiatrist and she saw the good in crazy people. And I think like a lot of what we do is, you have to be able to see the good, and somebody just punched you in the face or just kicked you or just spit at you, and you have to go back and be like, oh, it's okay. I know you're having a hard day, blah, blah, blah. So you have to always find the good in somebody. So I could totally see that. I could see you being Scarlet Witch. Wanda, do you know what that is? No, of course not. Why would you? Stargirl from The Boys. Matt, please elucidate. Matt, pop in and tell us why you think Stargirl. I don't know the show. Matt. Oh, he wrote
no.
No. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I would say that. I don't know Stargirl that well. Rogue. I could see probably being like Rogue. But she's a little passive. I'd have to think about it more. So, what I normally do is finish with a poem. Do you have any poems that you want me to read?
I don't have anything in front of me. Rob said he'll pop on to talk about superheroes.
Oh my God. Rob, not to talk superheroes, Rob. What superhero do you think she should be? If you come on, it has to be like 2 minutes, not 6 hours.
Well, first of all, I think she should be whatever superhero she wants to be.
She doesn't know them. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know them that well.
All right. Well, my first question would be, if you could have any superpowers, what would they be?
I would want to read minds, but I want to be able to choose when I can do it.
Emma
like
Frost.
It can't be a 24/7 thing.
So unfortunately, I'm not aware of any superheroes that, and I'm also Emma Frost. She can do it when she wants to.
She has telekinesis.
Yeah, but so does Dr. Xavier. But Dr. Xavier can't control his. It's just all the time.
Yeah, but I think she could control it.
Okay. Yeah, Matt's saying Emma Frost. Jimmy Nails is saying Jean Grey. So.
Phoenix. Yeah.
It sounds like you're definitely more in the X-Men verse than anything else.
Yeah, she's a mutant. She's definitely a mutant.
Sure.
She's definitely a mutant.
There's that.
What other? Ask me your question, sir.
What other superpowers would you like to have other than reading minds?
I would be cool with time trial. Let me get my words together. Time travel.
Yeah, that sounds great.
I would do that one.
I don't know who you're gonna need. Like, I think you're gonna need like Doctor Strange for that shit, but I don't know. Jimmy says she doesn't strike me as bitchy enough to be Emma Frost. I only know the January Jones portrayal of Emma Frost. There's that.
I love it.
I mean, I can definitely have an attitude, but not all the time.
Sure.
Not all the time.
No. Dramatic.
I'll let Joker finish up with his poem.
I'm dramatic.
Just a little. Occasionally.
It's debatable. You said what?
I said occasionally.
Why do you say that?
Because you're dramatic sometimes.
I understand, but why do you say that?
You take things to the next level. It's not dramatic in a bad way.
Like, I love Emma, but she's mean. Kristin doesn't strike me as mean.
You clearly have something different to say.
No, I don't think you're mean. I think you're very nice. I think you're too nice.
I think you should just become your own superhero. You know, why be somebody that already exists when you can just be yourself? That's what I say to myself all the time.
Got a good point there.
I want to fly, read minds, and time travel. So
there you go.
He's a robot too. You guys can probably speak the same language.
Well, then I could invent a cloning machine and make 5 of me and live out my life goals.
Oh my God, what is wrong with you, Rob?
5 faces of Rob. I'm telling you, 5 faces of Rob.
So Rob is not human. He's a robot, and I don't think he's a real person, and I think he pretends. So that's one. Maybe I'll do an old poem from an old book that you haven't read. Hold on.
that I haven't read yet.
Asking questions. Yeah.
Do you prefer to drink water from a glass or out of a bottle?
Usually I drink it ice cold with like a whole glass of ice cubes. This one doesn't have any though. Okay.
One of you is enough, Rob. Sometimes more than enough.
Oh, it is more than enough. Yeah.
That's true. I'm a room temperature bottled water guy.
Oh no, absolutely not.
But we're on wells, so I'm not going to drink the water from the faucet. So
that was a cerebral for you. All right, I got one. All right, Rob, get out.
All right, later, guys.
Bye.
All right, so let me do, since you didn't want to pick one. It's called Unquiet Mind. One of my friends likes to think a lot, so I feel like it'll resonate with you.
Okay.
You have an unquiet mind, sublime and full of similes and metaphors. The words pour out of a crevice in your essence. You have an unquiet mind. You perform one-man acts as if you were a troupe of performers. The words and melodies of your voice are your background entertainers. You have an unquiet mind. You move thought to paper and breathe life into the lines. The poem that you procreate will carry the family line on another generation. You will put a show on in your being for the people around you to take and be shown greatness. You have an unquiet mind as you heal young hearts, trying to show them that there is always time to write a poem. There's always time to sit down and show someone that you care about them when no one else did. You have an unquiet mind that has touched other minds, make their hearts sing their own poetry, helping others realize that you have a beautiful mind, the mind of a starving artist, an unquiet mind. Somehow, for some reason, I feel like that would hit home with you.
That fits me perfectly.
Of course it does, because
it does. My mind never stops. It just keeps
going.
It
does not. It does not stop. So, Ms. Kristin, you are everyday expert, and I thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it. Of course, you'll be on for another one probably, because I'll just bother you until you say yes.
That's what you did this time around.
Thank you. I'm good at that.
Yep.
So you hang around. I had the quick cold water when. Oh my God, Rob has so many problems. So yeah, I know, Matt. Thank you, Kristin. Thank you. We're gonna kick you out for a second. Okay. Don't leave though.
Okay, I won't.
Mr. Munoz, please bring up the September slate. All right. Next Saturday we have the illustrious Mr. Glenn Caesar on for part 2. Prayer, meditation, and talking about life. It's starting at 9:30 on September 13th, which is a Monday at 11 p.m. We have Mr. Sir Ryan White. On September 18th, which is a Saturday, again, we have Lady Asia, who's going to talk about a whole bunch of different things, but mostly she's going to talk about being a pain in my butt. I mean, a friendship. And the 25th, we're going to unleash love and poetry, and we'll be offering pre-sales, and I might do a giveaway. Anybody's my friend on Facebook. You saw the teaser for the cover. It's pretty cool. Check it out. Kristin wrote the introduction, and she made the book that much better. So As Epictetus said, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. Joker out, nano nano, gang gang gang. Glenergy debuting this month. Thank you, Robert. Thanks, Matt.
Wow.